It was one of those chilly evenings when the wind felt heavier than usual and the roads seemed emptier than they should. Daniel pulled his old pickup truck into a quiet gas station just outside town. The hum of the engine faded as he stepped out, careful not to wake his little daughter, Lily, who had fallen asleep in the back seat, clutching her pink blanket. As he began filling the tank, his eyes caught something unusual: a young girl, no older than 20, sitting on the curb near the convenience store. Her face was buried in her hands, her shoulders shaking. Even from a distance, Daniel could tell she had been crying for a long time. Beside her sat a small worn-out backpack, the kind you'd carry if you had nowhere permanent to be. Daniel hesitated. He wasn't the kind of man to meddle in strangers' business. As a single dad, his life was already complicated enough, juggling long hours as a mechanic, school runs, and bedtime stories. Yet something about the girl pulled at him. Maybe it was the way she kept glancing at the parking lot as if waiting for someone who never came. Or maybe it was because he knew what it felt like to be abandoned. Taking a deep breath, Daniel walked toward her. His voice was calm but concerned. "Hey, are you okay?" The girl quickly wiped her tears, forcing a weak smile that fooled no one. "I'm fine," she whispered, her voice trembling, but Daniel had learned long ago that "I'm fine" often meant the exact opposite. For a moment, silence hung between them. Daniel crouched down so he wasn't towering over her, keeping his tone gentle. "Listen, I don't want to intrude, but you don't look fine. Are you waiting for someone?" The girl swallowed hard before shaking her head. "No, not anymore. Her name was Emily," she explained in fragments, each word weighed down with exhaustion. She had been living with her boyfriend, the father of her unborn child, but the moment she told him she was pregnant, everything changed: arguments, accusations, and finally, the cruelest blow: being told to pack her things and leave. Emily had no family nearby, no money for a motel, and nowhere to go. She had been sitting at that gas station for hours, hoping maybe someone would help. Most people passed by without so much as a glance. As she spoke, Daniel felt his chest tighten. He knew too well how cold the world could be when you were at your lowest. He had lost his wife years ago, left to raise Lily alone. He had been judged, overlooked, even pitied. But he had also learned that sometimes one act of kindness could mean the difference between despair and hope. Just then, Lily stirred awake in the truck and spotted Emily through the window. Groggy but curious, she toddled out holding her favorite stuffed bunny. With innocent eyes, she looked at Emily and said, "Don't cry. You can borrow Bunny." Emily blinked, surprised. She let out a shaky laugh, tears spilling again, but this time softer, warmer. It had been so long since anyone had shown her kindness, even from a child. Daniel knew he couldn't just drive away, but he also knew his reality: money was tight, and his responsibilities were already heavy. Still, leaving Emily there in the cold felt unthinkable. "Come on," he said finally. "You look like you haven't eaten in a while. Let me at least get you something warm." Emily tried to protest, but her empty stomach betrayed her. She followed Daniel and Lily into the small diner next to the station. The waitress gave them a curious look, but Daniel didn't care. He ordered soup, sandwiches, and hot chocolate for Emily. As she ate, Emily's guard slowly lowered. She admitted how scared she was of being a mother, of failing before she even began. Daniel didn't give her speeches or easy answers. Instead, he listened. When she finished talking, he simply said, "No one should face this alone. You're stronger than you think." Something about his words, steady, unpolished, genuine, gave Emily a flicker of hope she hadn't felt in weeks. That night, Daniel could have taken his daughter home and left Emily to figure things out, but his conscience wouldn't let him. He found himself offering, "I know a safe place, a shelter I used to volunteer at. They can help you, give you support. I'll take you there tomorrow if you'd like." Emily's eyes widened. "Why would you do that for me? You don't even know me." Daniel paused, glancing at Lily, who was happily sipping chocolate milk. "Because I know what it feels like when no one shows up, and I won't let that happen to you." The next morning, true to his word, Daniel drove Emily to the shelter. It was a modest building, but warm and welcoming. The staff greeted her kindly, assuring her she'd have a safe bed, meals, and counseling. As they filled out her intake forms, one of the staff members froze when they read Emily's full name. Their eyes widened. "You're Emily Carter?" the woman asked. Emily looked down, ashamed. "Yes." Daniel frowned, confused. The staff member's voice softened. "Your father has been searching for you everywhere. He's been putting up notices, contacting shelters. He was heartbroken when you disappeared." Daniel was stunned. This wasn't just a random girl in need. Emily was the daughter of a well-known local businessman, a man who had resources, a man who had probably spent sleepless nights praying to find her. Tears streamed down Emily's face as the weight of her choices crashed over her. She had run away, terrified of facing her father's disappointment, but now she realized maybe she wasn't as alone as she thought. The shelter quickly contacted her family. Hours later, a black SUV pulled up. Out stepped a man in his 50s, weary but hopeful. When he saw Emily, his face crumpled. "Emily," he whispered, his voice breaking as he rushed forward to embrace her. She clung to him, sobbing, "I'm sorry, Dad. I thought you'd hate me." Her father held her tighter. "Hate you? You're my little girl. I just wanted you safe." Daniel stood quietly in the background, holding Lily's hand, watching the reunion unfold. He felt a lump in his throat. This was what compassion could do. A single choice to stop to care had led to this moment. Emily's father turned to Daniel, his eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you. You have no idea what you've done for us." Emily hugged Daniel before leaving, her voice trembling but sincere. "You reminded me that there are still good people in this world. I won't forget this." Later that night, back at home, Daniel tucked Lily into bed. She snuggled Bunny close and whispered, "Daddy, did we help the sad lady?" Daniel smiled softly, brushing her hair back. "Yes, sweetheart, we did." And as he turned off the light, Daniel reflected on it all. He hadn't done anything extraordinary. He was just an ordinary man who refused to look away. Yet that simple act had changed the course of someone's life. The story closes with this thought. Sometimes the smallest act of compassion can spark miracles not just for others, but for us too. And in a world that can feel cold and unkind, choosing kindness is what makes us truly rich. This story reminds us of a simple but powerful truth: kindness has the power to change lives. Daniel, a single dad with struggles of his own, could have easily walked past a stranger in need, but instead he chose compassion. That choice didn't just give Emily a meal or a place to stay, it reconnected her with her family, restored her hope, and reminded her she wasn't alone. In a world where so many are hurting in silence, sometimes all it takes is one person willing to stop, listen, and care. And often, the people who give kindness freely are the ones who understand struggle the most. So let this story be a reminder: you don't have to be wealthy or powerful to make a difference. A simple act of humanity, a few words of comfort, or even a moment of listening can spark miracles you never imagined, because in the end, true strength isn't measured by what we keep for ourselves, but by what we give to others.